Hello, my name is John Boudreau, and I did case D for the case study project. Uh, the basic points of this case study is Tom lived with his grandparents who both are 70 years old, and his grandfather has arthritis, and his grandmother fell and broke her hip 6 weeks beforehand because of osteoporosis. The issue is that both of them are in ailing health and unable to take care of Tom, so the roles have flipped, and Tom is now taking care of his grandparents. Because of this and their decreased health, Tom isn't able to eat well, skipping meals and not getting a well-balanced nutrients, causing what his teachers believe caused a decline in the schoolwork and attention span. This is affecting Tom's schoolwork and as well as his future in college. His aunt, who lives 2 hours away, wants to take him away as well as give him a car when he turns 16, which will be in 2 years because Tom at the moment is 14 and unable to drive or work, as well as getting a college fund because his aunt and uncle have are well off as well as having no kids. Instead of living with his aunt, Tom plans on working over the summer to help repair the house, which is in desperate need of repairs because the house is nearly falling apart and has an issue with air conditioning. The dilemma is formed because Tom and his grandparents are both getting worse living in the same house, but Tom wants to help and take care of his grandparents, which he thinks no one else will, as well as repair the house so his grandparents can better live. But Tom can improve his position if he moves in with his aunt, but his grandparents won't have someone to look after them as Tom worries. One course of action is Tom to move in with his aunt and have his grandparents move into an assisted living retirement home. Unfortunately, Medicare does not cover the cost of retirement homes. Tom's grandparents would have to use their own money to cover the cost of living there. According to the Associated Living Federation of America, the average cost of assisted living is $3,022 a month. This does not represent the area that Tom and his grandparents live, but the national average could be off depending on where they live and what part they want to live in, if they want to live where they currently do or near their aunt. But living near their aunt seems that they have a country club in the area, so assisted living would be higher. So if there's assisted living where they are now, it would probably be cheaper than the one near the aunt. So it'd be 2 hours apart where Tom would be away from his grandparents. So he lives with his aunt. Oh yeah, the average in terms of regulatory components of human behavior environment, the economic portion, the average Social Security benefit is $1,292 per person. I mean per month. So if both grandparents had the average Social Security, they would have an income of $2,584, which would leave a net loss of $438 if they do the national assisted living. But that's assuming both of them have the average Social Security. One of them can max out at $2,082 a month, which would help, but that assumes both grandparents were working. We can assume that the grandfather worked, but the grandmother is one issue that we don't know. I assume that they both were working and both had the average, so they would still have the net loss of $438. The deciding factor is where they can live, but also determine is how much money they have saved up, as well as what they can get on selling the house. If they have enough money, they can live in the national average, but assuming where they live now, the assisted living probably is lower than national average, and they'll be able to afford living in the assisted living care with maybe just using Social Security benefits, as well as probably savings they have used, as well as the income from selling the house. In terms of social, Tom will have access to see his grandparents and talk to and see them every day. But if the assisted living is close by, which we're going to have to assume is 2 hours away, he'll be able to visit them often on weekends. When he turns 16, he'll be able to drive there on his own and visit them as much as he can. Another course of action is for Tom to move in with his aunt during the school year in order to improve his education and economic stance, as well as getting the college fund and the car, but visiting his grandparents on weekends and staying with them over the summer to help work and repair the house. The only issue with this is during the 5 days that Tom is staying with his aunt, his grandparents will be on their own and may not get the coverage they need, the care they need in order to survive and function. Because if something else happens, No one may know where they are, know what to do, or know what they did, or what happened to them, and days can go by without them receiving care. But this improves because Tom's economic stance will improve, as well as his health stance, because he'll be receiving better care for himself, but at the expense that his grandparents will not receiving good care. So the dilemma is formed between this situation that Tom is giving up his grandparents' health in order to improve his own. And the third course of action is to politely tell his aunt no thank you and stay living with his grandparents. This will keep his grandparents company, and Tom will have the satisfaction that he knows someone's taking care of his grandparents, which is a major concern of his. But this is all at the expense of Tom's education and health. If Tom stays with his grandparents, his education will fall. He won't have the future that his aunt can give him with college and a car. And after his grandparents pass on, he will have nothing left. But he may be able to live with his aunt after his grandparents pass on, but at that point the opportunity might be too late. His aunt may be able to give him the college funding even if he stays with his grandparents, but that is not certain because his aunt seems to really want to take care of him and provide him as a son, which is something that she does not have. My recommended course of action is the first one, is where Tom moves in with his aunt and his grandparents go to assisted living. Yes, there is an economic hit to his grandparents, but the health benefits greatly help this for both Tom and his grandparents, who all three receive health benefits for this, because Tom will have his well-balanced meals as well as someone taking care of him, and his grandparents will have someone qualified to look after him rather than their 14-year-old grandson who can only do so little to help them. Tom will also receive a better economic future with an education as well as a college fund and a car, which can help him provide with doing jobs where he can drive to a job site as well as drive to his grandparents for the social benefit that he will receive if he goes with his aunt. When he turns 16, he can drive and visit his grandparents whenever, as well as work and send money to help cover his grandparents' assisted living costs. Thank you.